As Western leaders scramble for diplomacy, Russia continues to drop bombs. While the United States talks about ceasefires, Putin sends drones, and as military commanders from Britain and France visit Kyiv, Putin welcomes artillery from North Korea. What we're witnessing is not a genuine negotiation effort from Moscow, but a sophisticated stalling tactic, a global sleight of hand, global magic. 3 weeks ago, Washington floated this proposal, an unconditional halt to strikes on energy infrastructure. Ukraine agreed. Russia, initially appearing to concur, has continued to violate the terms with near-daily assaults. From Kharkiv to Dnipro, residential buildings, hospitals and energy facilities are still being ravaged. 5 civilians dead, 32 wounded in a single night in Kharkiv alone. The attacks have been brutal and systematic, and they coincide with Kremlin claims that Ukraine is the violator. British Foreign Secretary David Lammy sums it up bluntly. We see, Vladimir Putin, we know what you're doing. The choreography is transparent. Agree to pause, then strike, blame the other side, and extract concessions through confusion. More troublingly, evidence has now emerged that North Korea Koksan artillery has been deployed in Crimea. These are not relics, they're highly destructive long-range systems designed to support precisely the sort of prolonged attritional warfare that Russia is banking on. What does this signal? It reveals that Putin is not preparing for peace, he's preparing for more war, along with the conscription and the ranging of troops along the border. A longer, bloodier campaign with a new arsenal, and he's using the illusion of negotiation as a cover to move these pieces into place. This isn't just a military tactic, it's a political gambit. By engaging in slow-motion diplomacy, he buys time to restock, retrain, reframe the narrative while Western attention drifts. In response, NATO's European leaders are beginning to recalibrate. Jean-Noël Barrot of France and David Lammy of Britain are now in Kyiv, not as diplomats but with military chiefs, openly discussing boots-on-the-ground scenarios for post-ceasefire enforcement. This is no small thing. There is a clear, if unspoken, understanding that Putin is not negotiating in good faith. He's added new demands, lifting sanctions, territorial buffer zones, a temporary administration in Ukraine, all of which are absurd in the light of his battlefield failures. Moreover, the Kremlin has vocally opposed any European peacekeeping presence, and Moscow frames it as a blatant occupation of Ukraine by Europe, even while it occupies Ukrainian territory. There is only one country occupying Ukraine, and that is Russia. Well, actually, there's two. There's also some North Koreans occupying Ukraine. This is Orwellian, and Europe knows it. In the United States, Donald Trump has begun to signal frustration. Despite initially urging the thaw, he's now threatened tariffs of up to 50% of Russian oil, should the Kremlin continue its game of diplomatic charades. Yet, his administration's posture remains inconsistent. The US has pulled back from the ICPA, the international team investigating Russian war crimes, and continues to push Ukraine to accept deeply lopsided conditions, including concessions of mineral wealth and vague territorial restructuring. Senior diplomats like Marco Rubio offered perhaps the clearest indication of American ambivalence. We'll know soon if Putin is serious. But one wonders, after 172 drones launched on a single day, do we really not know yet? Does it take so long for the reality to sink in that Putin is simply playing games? Well, I use the term Putin very loosely. As far as I believe, Putin died on October the 23rd in 2023. But he may have been dead long before that. That's one of the general beliefs promoted in Ukraine. That actually what we've got. I mean, if you listen, somebody was pointing this out to me the other day. If you listen to what Putin said 10 years ago and compare it to what he says now, it's as if a different person is speaking. And it is to say nothing about cheekbones, ears, and height. What we see is not a peace process, it's a performance. Vladimir Putin is not pausing for peace, he's strolling for supremacy. His deployment of North Korean weaponry, his increasing use of glide bombs and drones, his diplomatic doublespeak reveal a man committed to victory with very little commitment. In fact, he's not committed to victory at all. He's committed to chaos, surely, not compromise. Let's call it for what it is, a manufactured delay. Let's remember that in war, a delay is rarely neutral. For the aggressor, it's always an opportunity. For the victim, it's always a cost. And Russia, the Kremlin, is not the victim here.